Hey everybody, it's the Old Wolf with you again for another episode of the Witch and Wolf Wisdom. It is May the 3rd, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, coming at you live, Rochester, New York. Thank you again for joining us. And yes, tomorrow actually is May the 4th, but being a longtime Star Wars fan, we're going to do it today. So we're going to intermix some memes and some comedy and some discussion and some music and all the shit that we do. As always, the thoughts, expressions, views, opinions, etc., expressed are mine and mine fucking alone. Obviously, I have no intellectual rights properties to Star Wars or anything associated with Star Wars. If y'all want to come down and fucking go after us, for doing a bunch of crazy memes, by all means. I think you got bigger problems in Florida. I'm just saying this, okay? I'm a fan of the mouse, but I think the mouse has bigger problems right now than working my end of the fucking internet. So good evening. Today, Liz, my sister, great to see you all. Thank you everybody again for joining us. As always, this is a multi-stream podcast that's hosted live on Facebook and YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, that's what helps us a lot. A lot of what we do is free. We always try and make it a point, not only with the music, but with the podcast and a lot of the other things that we do, that we try and make them available to people. So all that we ask in return is like, subscribe, and share.
Pretty please with a cherry on top.
Pretty please. That's what helps us out, especially here for the podcast.
Please and thank you.
Again, Shiya and I do a bunch of different things that we have been involved with and will continue to be involved with, and a lot of really, really cool things on the horizon besides the podcast, the lives, and some of the other things that we will discuss, besides YouTube.
And new music.
New music coming down the pike from the contest that we finished up, and also new music in production. Lady Shiya does, and I do as well too, gift certificates for different services, private reading, spell casting, counseling, custom music, dream insights, just some of the things we do.
We just had somebody that is literally making her sister's dream come true.
By doing a track, right?
By doing a track and putting her poetry to music.
Within the ongoing teaching series, which is within the mentorship circle, a lot of self-paced learning, Reiki, astrology, and there it is, Shiya's mentorship circle, which is like one of the cornerstones of a lot of obviously of what you do, but to some degrees now what I do as well too. So check it out if you're not already involved. Discounts off of readings, private stuff, all types of stuff for less than a cup of coffee.
All the shit that we have learned over our years, we have been slowly dumping it out for the mentorship.
Absolutely. I mean, you've been doing it for 30 plus years. I've been
35 years.
I dabbled when I was younger. I have obviously connections into it, but I have not obviously been involved to the degree that you have.
Well, you're more...
Well, I was a single parent for...
Yeah.
Had other things going on. But listen, the journey brings us to where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there many times.
You bet.
Hello, Shauna. Welcome again, everybody. So, yes, as mentioned, as discussed, tomorrow is May the 4th. Now,
May the 4th be with
love it or hate it, Star Wars has been a huge part, at least of Western culture. In my opinion, it depicts the oh-so-classic context of good versus evil, how that reflects not only within a family dynamic, but also within the greater dynamic. You can make all kinds of analogies to, this, that, and the other thing. And, as with most storytelling, art tends to reflect life. And no coincidence, life will then reflect art. It's an interesting little, kind of binary dance. Good evening, Tanya. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Tanya. Good to see you.
Now, again, besides the obvious context of perspective and discussion, one of the things that has become prevalent, again, within Western culture are memes, where we take elements of our art, our lives, the world around us, and we spin it sometimes for darker context, but more times than not for humor, for comedy, for reflective. Let's think about this for a moment.
Things that make you go,
Or as Peter Griffin would say, things that really grind my gears. Now, you can make a case for some odd things. I've seen people take the deeper end of the spectrum and be like, well, that just promotes, incest. Luke never fucked Leia, okay? It's technically not incest, okay?
I think Game of Thrones kind of took that argument away.
Yeah, Game of Thrones went full throttle.
Oh, you want the brother-sister dynamic? We'll one up that one.
Now, there was just a little bit of a flirtation. He just kind of, did a little bit. We'll touch this real quick, and then we're going to run the other fucking way.
No, he was truly like the country boy. I mean, of Mos Eisley, he was like the country boy. Right?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So I mean, he's like out there on the moisture farm and hadn't had much
working in the
girls.
Sand, wanting to get away from it all,
He was the basement boy with the 2 droids, and then he gets out and there's this gorgeous woman. Of course, he's gonna be like, hey.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, boys will be boys.
Yeah.
My sister Suzanne, the Beaver Queen. Oh, yeah, the Beaver Queen!
The Beaver Queen!
Welcome! Yes, there are a lot of different layers to the Star Wars saga.
When I was in college, and of course that was way back in the early 90s, we actually studied in my advanced English course, actually sat there and did a study on the archetypal presentations that were done in the original Star Wars. I mean, that was like literally I got into the class and we're like, cool. College class discussing Star Wars. I can deal with this.
I've read some interesting things over the years. I've seen some interesting perspectives. The episodes, for those of you who are not familiar, this is going to be your crash course into Star Wars tonight, starts off on episode 4, okay? And there are actually 9 episodes within. So they did the middle of the story, which was the original context that George Lucas had. And it starts off basically the story of Luke Skywalker and his journey into discovering and understanding who he is and how that relates to their world in general. You have, who's one of my favorite characters within the franchise, Obi-Wan Kenobi, General Kenobi. Obi-Wan!
You're my only hope!
Who's like, he's the Gandalf of the series in many ways. He's
definitely
the mystical thing. But here's the funny, crazy thing. He ends up dying, in the first episode, or episode 4 as a case. It was the first episode that was released in the 70s.
Right.
And it was incredibly popular. Incredibly popular when it was released. It had, at the time, some state-of-the-art special effects.
I mean, that's where
it was a ride, it was like going to the amusement park and, John Williams soundtrack.
From this.
Right. So a lot of things were developed within this context.
Hello, Miss Muffy. Did you get... oh, you're on YouTube. Okay, I was like... I was surprised you got access to your Muffy Barrow. But yes, you're on YouTube, that's why.
Congrats. Welcome.
Yeah, Muffy and I will be going on a trip very soon.
Ah, yes. The Great Witch Adventures.
Yes, we're going to be having some fun.
But that's good. Adventure is good. And that is one of the elements of Star Wars.
Yes.
No, Sister Suzanne, I saw it, but I purposely tried to dance around it only simply because there's just so much fucking chaos. And you know what? We'll take a couple moments initially and
I have not.
We'll just shovel all the shit that's going on. Yes, I saw that. It's fucking ridiculous that in this day and age that we still have to deal with things like fucking daycares that, don't understand basic elements
It's
of child care.
horrible.
Oh, Jesus, your granddaughter went to that daycare? Listen, I don't blame you. I mean, hopefully she was not.
Yeah, that's a personal context right there.
Right.
Holy
Hopefully
shit.
she didn't get caught up in any stupidness. But this is, again, welcome to the fucking wonderful world we live in. You know, we got shit going on in every other side of this town, that town. We got people, you know, just shootings here, shootings there. We've got, you know, countries bombing each other. And then, to top it all off, we find out yesterday that the Supreme Court has decided, or at least they're preparing to decide, that women in general don't know what they're doing and that they need somebody else to tell them what to do with their vaginas, and specifically how, when, where, and why to bear children. Yeah, Suzanne, don't even get me started in regards to the whole quote-unquote church context. As somebody that has survived the deep end of the Roman Catholic Church and its conditioning, again, don't get me wrong. I don't begrudge spirituality. I do not begrudge faith. I do not begrudge people belief. But there is a big difference between spirituality and the human constructs disguised under the dogmatic elements of religion, aka the church.
Yes. Oh, I throw the chat up so everybody can see it, but
yes,
yeah,
we can do that.
Jonathan says, "Yeah, thou shalt keep thy religion to thyself." I've always heard.
Oh, it would be fucking nice, but it isn't going to happen.
Thing, like, religion is like having a rather nice penis. It's wonderful to be proud of it, but it's not something that you whip out at random people at random points.
But Jesus told me to.
Yeah, that's nice. Show me where that happened.
But
yeah,
it's my reality. And see, this is unfortunately a side effect of many years and generations of conditioning. Now, Kendall throws an interesting point. She believes more of this is caused by porn consumption than religion.
You know, more pastors have a pornography addiction.
But here's, no offense, here's the problem with that argument. Sexuality was fucked up way before there was ever porn. You can trace it back through every culture, through every time period. Women have been exploited. Sexuality has been exploited. You know, do a dance within the historical annals of Caligula. Okay? And it's not hard to connect that it's people. That's the problem. And you're right. Watching women be abused sexually for hours, it does change people's mindset. You get no argument from me about that. That is definitely a form of
it creates
conditioning.
A false narrative and conditioning.
And it does. It is, you know, a sketchy area now because it has created not only, I believe, expectations within that framework of sexuality, but let's really be honest, it's a fucking illusion. It's not real. So we are creating the proverbial Frankenstein monster in that. Now, that isn't to say that people who are comfortable and or honest within their sexuality, if they want to enjoy that, you know what, more power to them. I believe in the simple concept. What people do within their privacy, as long as it's not affecting other people, is their business. That is the framework for freedom of speech, religious choice, sexuality, all of it, okay? I also believe in the same context that it applies in the element for people's right to own guns. So it isn't just a one-sided liberal thing or a one-sided conservative thing. These are basic, I believe, human elements. And again, they are part of the elements, getting back to the earlier analogy, that is reflected in our culture through storytelling, through aspects like Star Wars. You know, Star Wars tells many stories. I mean, it tells a family story, but it also tells a story about the, I guess, baseline philosophy that power corrupts. Okay. And then within that, how it carries over onto everybody else. Now, within those first 3 movies, you obviously have the beginning, Star Wars A New Hope, which was episode 4. Episode 5 gets much, much fucking darker. That's The Empire Strikes Back. And that's when all shit goes off. We find out that the big bad guy is actually the daddy of the good guy. The super wise old guy, he gets fucking ganked right off,
That's in the first one.
But he's got that ghosty thing. And then we get introduced to my second favorite iconic character, Yoda. And Yoda represents the Grand Master of the Force. Now, what's the Force, you say?
Jedi.
Well, the Force is reflected within the Jedi as a quote-unquote religion in some ways. Well, why don't you give me your take, Monkey?
Well, I mean, in some places in the world, it is a registered religion. You can be a Jedi.
Yes.
It just,
In case people didn't know.
not that I ever felt the need.
But it is about our connection with the energy that is around us. The Force is not unlike a descriptive context that witches and wizards and people within, the metaphysical communities use. It's an invisible energy that binds all living creatures, okay? And within the scope of that, certain people are sensitive to it and can control it, manipulate it, use it. So you have your 2 factions. You've got the Jedi on one side, who are supposed to represent the good, the positive. They are the guardians of the galaxy. And then on the other side, you have the dark side.
The Sith.
The Sith, who represent that other side of the coin. Now, initially, there's not a whole lot of background that's put into this. It's just, okay, you got fucking Darth Vader. He shows up. He's fucked up. He's big and black. He's got a big red lightsaber. And what does he start off with? He cuts his fucking son's hand off. Now, this does open up some parental concerns for me personally as a parent, but at the time when I saw it as a kid, I was like, that's the coolest shit I've ever fucking seen.
Well, I mean, he's been an absentee father.
Yeah, well, you can make that case as well, too. But in his defense, nobody told him he had the kid. He got fucking doped, okay? Now, again, as a man, I could relate to that. That would piss me off. I might have to go on a galactic rampage if somebody kind of, bullshitted me and be like, hey, by the way, sorry, I never told you that I had a kid. So you can make a context for why he is the way he is. And then to jump really quick, you get into episode 6, which is
Return of the Jedi.
And the Return of the Jedi is basically the son saving the father. You get a bunch of Ewoks running around who are fucking up state-of-the-art technological stormtroopers with, fucking visors and laser guns with fucking sticks and stones. But hey,
alternate take on title of the movie could not be referring to Luke, but to Vader.
The Return of the Jedi, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
He's right. The Emperor told Vader to kill Luke, which is his son, and Vader was just like, yeah, no, I can't do that. Brother John, you hit it. The devil archetype is often represented by red and black. Yep. Corresponds to Kronos, Ares, Mars, and Saturn. Yeah, listen, there are elements that George Lucas, and very openly, that he incorporated to be more reflective, to be more relatable. Yeah, the fucking Ewoks were great. And I mean, again, it's an absolute...
Yeah, I'm sure stormtroopers don't share those regards, Suzanne. I'm sure they're absolutely
fucking stormtroopers hate fucking Ewoks.
I'm sure they're absolutely terrified of these little things. They have, if any of them made it off the moon of Antar, they all have PTSD. Any little yup or hi, and they're instantly off.
Think about that. You go back to,
The little teddy bear just killed my buddy.
You go back to your Imperial base and you got to go around all the guys and basically explain how with all your technology and weapons and armor, you got fucked up by a bunch of fucking beavers.
Nah, dude,
no, listen,
stop,
they're fucking beavers,
man.
No,
they're not. They're cracked out, methed out little Care Bears.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yes.
They're methed out Care Bears.
I love that.
But even still, to get your ass kicked by a bunch of Ewoks,
That's
that
not
just
fair.
really looks bad, man. It looks bad on the resume. It's got to be bad on the ego.
See, that's the opposite of my thoughts, actually. Any of them actually survived the moon of Endor, and the hundreds of thousands of the denizens of Ewoks that actually inhabit that moon. Because if anybody's played Battlefront 2, the new one on next-gen consoles, there's a specific mission that is canon in the storyline called Ewok Hunt, where a bunch of the stormtroopers are all left behind on the forest moon of Endor at night.
Oh,
And
shit.
that is
That's
when the
terrifying.
carnage
They start
begins.
crawling out of the fucking trees, man.
That's terrifying.
It's absolutely terrifying. Yes, well, this was not the... welcome, Diana, my sister. This was not the same context of the beavers that you're thinking. We were talking about the Ewoks. I just said that they're a bunch of crazed beavers. Just kind of, blaming...
But Monkey has
blaming Suzanne for, the whole Imperial
See,
onslaught.
Here's
They're
the other
very
thing
on
you all
track.
need to realize about Ewoks is that they are most definitely omnivores, if not carnivores, because their first instinct upon finding people was to tie them up.
And
they're
cook them.
And they're getting ready to cook them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those little fuckers, they weren't playing around.
And if anyone else noticed, Leia, later in that movie, had a dress, opposed to her military uniform that she started the mission with on Endor. Where the hell do you think that dress came from, if not a similarly sized woman that they fought, cooked, and ate?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep.
I never even thought of that. I am now horrified. Oh my god.
Yep. Ewoks are not the fuzzy little, want to hang out. Listen, me personally, I'd rather hang with the Wookiees. The Wookiees you can trust at least.
You never have a better night's sleep than in a Wookiee's lap.
Yes.
Oh
So
my god.
as kind of what we've been doing a little bit, because it's fun and it's reflective and it's just one of the little things, especially with today, we are going to jump over into meme land. And I thought it was appropriate to start things off, and this is for everybody out there that doesn't like Star Wars, or like, why do you have to come out here on a Tuesday night and talk about stupid shit and have
Because it's our
fun
fucking
and
podcast.
music? Guess what? Much better that I sense in you. Cry like a bitch you should. Yes. Listen, some things again, and it's just that Yoda look, and you imagine it within the voice.
You know, Yoda being as wise and as old as he is, you'd think he wouldn't be surprised by a flashlight.
You'd think.
But he gets surprised by Luke's flashlight.
Now, some of that I wonder if that was just play, that he's just playing a bit of a game to kind of,
He always
keep
had
things
people
interesting.
underestimating him. Yoda is the
I'm
king of don't underestimate the little green piece of whatever that is.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Size does not matter.
Oh,
Matters not.
fuck you, I will.
does.
So yes, there are plenty of them, and we're going to go through different elements of
I'm
it.
with Suzanne. If you don't like Star Wars, I can't be friends.
No, listen, I'll still be friends with you, but there are obviously certain elements of conversation that we're not going to be able to have because you're not going to understand it. So I'm trying to, in my own way, educate, because I want to have these conversations with everybody.
I feel like if you don't like Star Wars, it just means you're not Force sensitive, and then I just feel bad for you.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
that's
that.
True.
There's that.
Join
But
the dark side.
you also might be a Sith. I don't know.
No, the Sith are definitely Force sensitive. The Sith
Yeah.
are drawn to Star Wars,
Yeah,
and they're the ones that yell
Sith are the
at the people that
narcissists
don't
of the
like
Star
Star
universe.
Wars. Right?
Serena's like, don't judge me. I used to hate. Listen, it's okay. I say it jokingly. There really is no judgment. It's a playful thing. We all like what we like. You know what I mean? But some things are what they are. So we'll just kind of play around with this.
Sith are
This
just
one
more
I
butthurt.
thought was again this
Sith
is
are the butthurt ones.
yes this is relevant to COVID.
Heard of it?
So up top we have the pre-COVID chokehold. In the middle we have the safe social distance chokehold, and then on the bottom we have the working from home chokehold. These are all shots. The first one's Vader physically grabbing a Republic guy because he's pissed off. They fucked some shit up. Those weren't the droids he was looking for.
Or maybe they were, and they actually got away.
Way.
Who knows?
The next frame comes later on, and it's the safe social distance. And Vader from a distance, it's just basically like, all right, I'm not actually going to fucking touch you, but I'm going to choke the shit out of you. And then that bottom one is just basically, you know, somewhere on a, you know, planet far, far away, get that nice Zoom call, and then, yeah, you get your ass choked because you fucked up for the last time.
Fucked up, essay.
I think the coolest thing about that is I'm pretty sure they're a nice distance away. It's a nice.
Oh yeah, he was on the star. I mean, again,
it's a nice perspective into how strong Vader actually is.
The top one is from the first movie, Episode 4. Second one, and then Empire Strikes Back. He's on the Death Star. They fuck up. He's like, "Oops, sorry, I fucked up." And he's like, "Yeah, no, that fuck up don't. Yeah,
You have failed me for
the last time." So anyway, moving right along. And this is just, again, a play upon, you know, Vader's choke.
Hey, Kitty.
But for all you coffee people, and this is how, again, some things can be relevant. So to give you context, you didn't make coffee? You failed me for the last time, Admiral.
Shout out to Alyssa.
Shout out? All right. So I have this...
Can I do that to you if you don't have coffee ready in the morning?
But I always make sure you have coffee ready.
Make sure I have coffee. It's like I'm like the danger zone. Make sure Shiya has coffee. Let's just coffee. Don't
all right, the wolf knows better. Wolf and monkey try to coordinate and make sure that there is always fucking coffee available.
He really does.
And, you know, again,
for
those of you who can relate.
That's a really interesting point you bring up, Sabrina.
What'd she say?
She's talking about, as a kid, that and Star Trek, overpaying attention to that over me.
Aw.
So, yeah, for some people, I'm sure, unfortunately, you know, there is no correlation. And for that, you know, maybe we can find a way to put a better spin on it.
The only way I would look at it is that just unfortunately happened to be your father's fixation. And, you know, you can feel whatever way you're going to feel. I don't hold it against you, but it is just a piece of media, and it could have been anything else. I don't think the issue is the media. I think the issue is that
people, you know, they don't always do what they're supposed to do. And I'll use the flip side analogy. Myself and my son, the monkey here, we connected on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, from many different levels, not only just from the storytelling and the adventure, but, you know, from different life lessons and elements, you know, that are reflective within it.
I used to always love Yoda's little training line.
Yes.
Try. There is no try. Do or do not.
Now, this next one is, again, for all you parents, especially those of you parents with daughters. And it's basically Vader pointing his finger at Leia, who, unbeknownst to her, is her father. And the caption is simply this: "You and that dickhead Solo, not on my watch. Now shut the fuck up and go to bed." I'm sure if you haven't used those particular words, every parent has had that moment when their child enters the dating world, and you know that the other person is just like, "Oh, you know, So there's a relatable element there. Now, again, you got to remember context. She didn't know that he was her father. But, again, as a parent, you can't blame the guy.
Oh, I mean, yeah, this is all fourth wall break shit.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of the meme. Yes, over my dead fucking body. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Sabrina, my mom with you at 17. Yep.
Now, this was just another little quip at Yoda. And it's a younger Obi-Wan asking, basically, why did the movies come out 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3? And this is before the debacle of 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
And Yoda basically, in charge of scheduling I was. Which is basically just fucking because Yoda just tends to talk backwards.
Well, I think what I really like about Yoda's speech, and it was actually somewhat explained, is that he normally gets to the point immediately. And it has to do with, the syntax of alien languages. That, possibly his native language is not Galactic Common.
And that having to deal with people's bullshit for what, 800 fucking years?
I mean, whatever.
And that was bullshit you have.
But, if you look at it linguistically, it makes sense where somebody that doesn't say speak English as a first language
Right.
would say maybe have little linguistic quirks.
Actually, it's very similar in syntax to
Confused
Russian
you will
and
be.
Slavic languages, where it puts the subject first, well, the predicate first, and then the subject and verb.
Right, and then there's also the lack of prepositional.
Toilet, and you shall dump.
Like, I think in Russian you don't use the word the.
No.
That's why it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
car.
Yeah. Listen, they are the subtleties
the car.
of
And
language.
it's actually the same in
Tolkien
sign
Tolkien
language.
did it in his writings and in the crafting of the Elven language.
Oh my god, well, Tolkien was a nut. He made the languages first and then made the stories.
Right.
And you want to
And,
talk about the
and
ultimate
Star Wars
nerd.
does take from Tolkien. George Lucas was very open about it, that was part of what, influenced him as a child within, the creative scope of fantasy and storytelling and the immersive elements of character and that baseline framework of good versus evil.
It actually becomes a lot more apparent when you start looking into stuff outside of the movies. Like, if you're like a more of a devout fan like me, you end up looking into all sorts of stuff. Like, one of my favorite storylines that has to deal with the Star Wars universe is the Knights of the Old Republic series, which takes back thousands of years before the giant drama that is the Skywalker family.
Yeah. Oh my God. The galactic.
I mean, if you think about it, 4, 5, 6.
Kardashians of the Star Wars.
They really are. The 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3 are all about the Skywalker family drama.
Yep. Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm still kind of. My sister Suzanne decided to throw out one of her shrapnel
Yes, it
grenades.
doesn't happen if you.
Because he disappeared, so there was no
Exactly.
junk to check out. See, I don't know why
No,
you
you
got to sexualize Yoda. I get it. He's small and green. It's a stereotype. It's fucked up.
Why do you think he needed the staff to walk? So, I mean, it's one of those things where, I don't. And she asked if you were there when Yoda died, would you have looked under his cape to check out his junk? I don't think the rest of us are quite as perverted as you, Suzanne.
Well,
I mean,
listen, this is, again,
at least we
this
don't
is for you,
agree
Suzanne,
definitively.
okay? See, this is Yoda's backstory, okay? And Suzanne forced the context, so we're going to have to cut to here, okay? Young he was, needed the money. He did. Okay? So Yoda's got some backstory, you know what I mean? And it's kind of hard being green.
That's the one time you look into the multiverse of madness and you can't look away.
No.
Yes.
When you look
I
into
dare
the
you, those of
abyss,
you who are actually watching, try and unsee that one.
I can't. You couldn't even unsee it when they first had it on Gremlins. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that, Suzanne. I went through that as well, too. You're just going to kind of not unlike, a volcano that's just been kind of brewing for a million years. You may want to just wipe out a small town or two, just, because it's just going to be, it's gonna compound on itself. It's gonna be a geometric effect. The longer that you wait and dance within the mouth of madness, the worse it's going to be for the rest of us. So just really,
$50
for myself,
Jesus,
my
you're
son,
expensive.
Shiya, everybody else, please just go out and just
John-
do it.
John,
As
the
Nike
minimum
says,
cost
just do it.
$20 is $20. And here's John like, nah, bitch. I'm
But
not
no,
20
listen,
bucks, I'm
20 bucks,
50
but well, 50 bucks
He's
is
50
50
bucks.
bucks, yeah.
50
Well, we
bucks.
got to factor in inflation. That's it.
I know.
John makes a really good point.
Inflation or John's ego inflation?
Well, I don't think it's his ego. I think he's right. 50 bucks is 50 bucks. I mean, come on, especially look at it. He's wearing what looks like to be a paper bag. At least back then, he's got the nice leopard print bra. He's obviously got lipstick. You know what I mean?
It was the 80s.
All right. Well, that says it all. I can't do better.
And all of that back in it was the 80s.
So again,
it's our excuse for everything. It was the 80s.
Keeping in the spirit with Yoda, and I thought this was a good one, and this is some wisdom from Yoda. Fake news is the path to the dark side. Fake news leads to memes. Memes leads to anger. Anger leads to blackmailing 15-year-old kids on the internet. Yes.
Oh,
this is how it progresses, okay?
That's horrible.
This is the path to blackmailing 15-year-old kids on the internet. Now, this is a gaming reference,
the dark side has
okay, for those of you who do not understand. Like, why would you ever blackmail a 15-year-old child on the... No, this is not a literal context. This does not play out in any normal reality. But it does kind of say, think about it.
Hey, I'll tell your mom about all the curse words you've been saying in this game and teabagging people.
Now, I thought this was good. Those of you who have partaked and never been to one of those parties... Basically, the upper part is 2 stormtroopers. Oh, I'm so wasted from the party last night. The other stormtrooper's like, you think you're fucked up, check out Vader. And it's basically, it's a Photoshop picture of Vader, but with his helmet all burnt and fucked up and twisted from the new episodes after his fucking suit was burned. So yeah, I've had those moments, not anymore, thankfully, but there were days back in the day, not necessarily a Christmas party, but oh yeah, some of you can probably relate to that feeling. Yes.
Boy.
And it's that old joke. Wow, man, you look like I fucking feel.
Yep.
So, it is what it is. Subtleties. Now, this is from another end of the Star Wars universe. It's from a show called The Mandalorian. And it's just one of those great little memes. It's a meme where you can just basically... I like to think of it as a 3-dimensional exclamation point. And it's just basically him deadpan, I have spoken. Now shut the fuck up.
I feel like that's the actual translation on the bottom. See, the top is the dialogue, bottom is translation.
See, now that's a great analogy. That's a great point.
Yep.
So when somebody says to you, I have spoken.
It means now shut the fuck up.
Okay. That's, thank you. Monkey, you have done the world and the internet a service, because this is literally Star Wars translation. It's like old Sanskrit. It's hard to find people that can remember these ancient languages and stuff, but it's quite important.
It's like you send an email and you reply to somebody and say, as previously stated, actually, because you didn't fucking listen the
Or
first
she said,
time.
I've said what I've said.
Yep,
I have spoken.
Please refer to the previous emails in this chain.
Yes.
Shut the fuck up.
Or anybody who's worked on a job with network computers, the fucking absolute stupid idiocy of the do not reply to all, and then people replying all do not reply to all, and it becomes like fucking. It becomes like an STD in a Roman orgy. All of a sudden, everybody's just replying all. Shut the fuck up. Stop sending the emails. Don't do it. I literally, no joke, the company I left a year ago, we had one that literally had close to 300 fucking replies within the company of people losing their mind, just begging, please stop forwarding it, as they were the ones who were forwarding it to everybody else. So it was like this cataclysmic chain effect of stupidity.
Yes.
And I just sat back as my inbox just filled with these things. And believe me, I really, really wanted to just type out a 400-page essay about just, the diatribes of stupidity and genetics and please stop fucking your sisters and, everything else to just get them away from it. But hey,
I would have paid good money for that.
I have spoken.
Now shut the fuck
Now, there are other characters within the Star Wars universe that deserve their moment. Now, me personally being from New Jersey, I had to throw this one. Chris Christie, listen, it is not personal, brother. I know you can take a punch. You're a tough guy, so if you're out there watching, you listen, people said worse about you, but it really is a point of discussion, Chris, that I would love to have you on the podcast to have. And here it is, separated at birth. One picture is Jabba, one picture is Chris Christie. One is an incomprehensible, oafish gangster who feasts off corruption. The other is Jabba the Hutt.
I mean, arguably Jabba has Hitman, so you can say he's worse.
Now, well, that's a deeper...
Hey, man.
A deeper question.
Listen, man, Hutts were like some of the roots of the galactic problems, like galactic cartel
Well, they were gangster.
Galactic cartel style. I mean, he was designated to the state of...
Again, he didn't pretend. Listen, I don't have a problem with a gangster as long as you just don't pretend to be a prosecutor. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Just as long as you own up to being
again, we can deal with things for what they are.
Just own up to it.
Now, this one,
Jesus,
I feel that some of you women, if not all of you women, can relate to. And it's basically Jabba with his arms wrapped around Leia. That tongue is just starting to poke out. And the caption simply is, when the date isn't going well and they try to kiss you anyway.
All women gain this skill.
Now, ladies,
yes,
have you had this moment? Can you relate?
Fuck yes.
I mean, the witch here is...
All women...
She's jumping up and down like...
Yeah. All women have this skill. When a guy comes in for that kiss, we know exactly how to turn the head and turn it into a hug, pat him on the back, and move on. I mean, we've all learned that skill. It is a necessity. It is a life necessity.
Swerve!
Right?
Yes. Swerve!
Oh, God, please! So, yes, there are those...
Perfect, Suzanne. Yes, she knows it. You know it. We all
There are
know
those
it.
moments in life. There are those moments in life. But anyway, we're going to take a break real quick. I'm going to play a track from some of the stuff that we've been doing. And we're going to come back with some more discussion, some more memes, some more insanity. Yes. Yes, so we shall be right back. And you know what? Again, just in the framework, ladies, for whatever it's worth.
Don't leave that image up.
No, we're not going to leave that image. We're not going to do that. Actually, we're going back to the podcast.
Shauna's like, how'd you get a picture of me?
I understand, and listen again, only to the degree, and this is just again contextual. There's nothing worse, okay? And let's all be serious. You don't want to be touched. You want to be kissed. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, binary, neutral, beaver, whatever the fuck you are, okay?
Christ, you have a fixation.
No, it's
I have a fixation. Hold on. My son has challenged me live. What, I'm sorry, what? I have a fixation?
On beaver, yeah.
No, I don't have a fixation on beaver. It's just one of our trademarks. You have to understand. We are required. No. We're required in the scope of the show, and Shiya, basically as, the executive producer and stuff, I have to make certain, like, what is it? My contract says I have to refer to the beaver. Hold on. Let me. All right. Yeah, here it is. Subsection 13, page 8. I have to refer to beaver at least 37 times per podcast, or I lose my funding. So, I mean, again, now, things being what they are, I don't begrudge it. I signed the contract. I got nobody. I'm not whinging. I'm not.
Yeah.
You do realize you may want to
We're
going to have to amend the podcast at some point, as well as all the ones in the past, because if you go through an audit for this contract, it's not going to pass.
Well, but
that's true.
That's why I trade off. That's why I trade off sexual favors. So,
Monkey, how do we know your dad is whinging?
Because his mouth.
Hey man. Unbelievable.
Gotta pick on
So yeah, we're gonna pop off a real quick track here. Keep on talking, dance with the skeletons, my brothers and sisters, and we'll be back in a couple minutes. So yeah, that was Keep On Talking, one of the tracks that we've done and released over on the YouTube channel. So yes, for those of you, if you could, like, share, subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. The music is there to share, use it. Again, just not in a commercial context. And, again, should you decide you want to do it in a commercial context, just, hey, let us know. Real quick, I want to go through a couple of our little things that we do. Again, Shiya and I and Monkey, we all talk about this, strength in numbers.
Yes.
Okay? And it's important. Yeah. So, essentially blessed. Okay? Crystal herbs and witchcraft. Shiya, why don't you tell us a little bit about Essentially Blessed?
That is my friend Janelle, and she goes and she does monthly warehouse lives and stuff like that. If you want some crystals and you can't ever go to the warehouse for yourself, don't worry, you tune into her and she will drag you once a month up to the warehouse, and then whatever she takes back home from the warehouse, she'll make sure you get a second chance at.
So it's like almost wholesale to some degree. So it's a little bit different take on it.
And yeah, she's got some pretty big stones and high-end stones. And she also has, like, if you got those giant, like, $1,500 stones that you can never afford, she'll sometimes have a raffle that she calls a waffle, where, you can spend $20 and have a chance at it.
Nice.
One of 20 people who has a chance of that item, whereas you would not have had even close to a blink of a chance before. You may get it, you may not, but hey.
Hey, listen, again, strength in numbers.
Yeah.
Check her out, www.essentiallyblessed5.net. Now, we work with a lot of different people. One is a good friend of ours. I call her sister, as I call many people within our circle sister. It is a term of affection for me.
And she is definitely a soul sister,
and
too.
She's definitely one of our soul sisters and been involved at a lot of different levels.
Yes.
Ashley Hart, Hart's Creations. And specifically, she is by far one of the best I've encountered dream catcher makers. She makes incredible dream catchers.
And she is from the First Nations in Canada, so anybody who is saying, oh, this is not an inclusive thing, oh, don't worry, you're getting it from somebody who is descendant of the First Nations in Canada.
If that's a thing,
context, I've heard people say that.
Listen, I understand everybody has their own little take on these things, but here's the thing, and
I'll be honest, I didn't even quite follow what you just kind of were getting at.
Oh, I'll explain later.
Yeah. It's about magic. Okay, yes. And magic is real. It's not something that you can always see, just like you can't see radiation, you can't see the Wi-Fi signal, okay? But it's just as real, and some people know how to work it, to mold it, to shape it.
Power of belief.
Power of belief, but it's also...
That's also how faith can work, too.
Yep,
yeah.
But it's also the skill, the application. Context, it matters. So, check her out. She's on Facebook at facebook.com/Harts Creations.
Harts.
Harts.
Yes. Harts Creations. In fact, I love her so much, and I love her work so much that that's what my mom was getting for Mother's Day.
Yes, and speaking of Mother's Day, don't forget your mothers out there.
Yeah, Sunday.
You don't want to fuck up like that.
Yeah, you still got a little time to Amazon it if you got Prime. So you better get off your ass.
We also have Mystical Moons. Suzanne, another one of our sisters and inner circle friends.
Yes.
Has some really beautiful stuff. And one of the great things, again, strength in numbers, mention the Wolf or Shiya, and first purchase, 25% discount.
Let me tell you, she combs everywhere, sources all of her stuff ethically, gets some of the best stuff out there, is extremely responsive to your questions, a very personal and personable shopping experience from somebody who is genuinely one of the best hearts out there.
Absolutely. And she was a sponsor for the songwriting contest, so greatly appreciate. Definitely check her out. Mystical Moons, you can find her at www.mysticalmoons.com or on facebook.com, Mystical Moons Live. We also have...
Sabrina says, I love my stuff from her. Yeah.
We have Moonbeams.
Moonbeams. Two of the greatest gals ever. I love them.
I know them as well. Had some conversations. Definitely good people.
Fantastic. Yes.
Good people. Listen again.
Highly creative. Very creative. They make all of this stuff that Moonbeams does.
There is the difference between somebody who just, let's be honest, is just selling things that they bought from China or here or this or that, versus somebody who actually takes time, puts their heart, puts their soul, puts their love and magic into the framework of what they do.
Now, one of my favorite things that they do is I love stretchy bracelets. Everybody who knows me knows I love stretchy bracelets. And, you can get some of the cheapy, generic stretchy bracelets, or you can call these gals and say, hey, I want a stretchy bracelet made with blah, 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 blah. And then next thing you know, you have a really cool custom stretchy bracelet. And these things last. Because I'm hard on my stretchy bracelets. And none of the ones that I've gotten from Moonbeams have broken.
I don't do the stretchy bracelets, but I believe the witch. And you had it. Listen, actually, you got it straight from the witch's mouth.
You do have one of their stretchy bracelets with the hematite and the...
Oh, yeah. I just, again, because I'm a guitar player, I just tend to not wear things on my wrists.
Yeah, but when you were going to work, I was sending you out with that hematite.
Yeah, well, that was a defense against
the dark arts.
Fucking insanity.
Yeah.
Suzanne's like, I probably have 2,000 bracelets. You go, girl. You got what you got to do.
And you know what? That's not a bad thing either. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because here's the thing. If the world ever shuts down, the economy ever goes to shit, those bracelets are worth their own value.
Yep.
Similar to how gold or gemstones or items in particular will hold value, whereas paper and coins will lose all value.
Yep.
Now, the cool thing is that there have been a few times where people have seen my plethora of bracelets up my arm, and they look at me and say, Shiya, are those like your Wonder Woman bracers? And I'm like, exactly.
You know what?
I am going to deflect the dark energy. Wham!
But listen, strength in numbers, support them.
There's a question I want to ask everyone out there.
Okay.
And I'm relatively confident in my answer, although I may be a little bit off here.
Here comes on the monkey.
There are two major origins to jewelry. One of which being royalty. Yes. Obviously, royalty always had some sort of necklaces and rings and so on and so forth.
So an affectation of wealth and
power. Right.
Yes.
But the other end of it came from, what do you think?
Ritualistic and spiritualistic. The entire religion aspect of it.
Right, but a lot of those didn't have anything to do with, say, like jewelry we understand. It would be like,
talismans, amulets, that sort of thing.
But not like gemstones. It wasn't signification of wealth like the royalty did. Pirates. Yeah.
Really?
The reason why pirates wore all that jewelry was because it held its value.
So they could keep it on them.
Well, not only that, they could keep it on them, but more specifically, they kept it on them for a reason.
To display it.
No, not just to display it. If they were to ever die, the diamond earring in their left ear could pay for the funeral, and the right one was descendants' inheritance.
Interesting.
Huh.
Well, I learned something new today.
I learn new things from the monkey all the time.
So yeah, check them out. And finally, but not least, my brother, music partner, and, all-around good guy, Tony Rodriguez. The band Broken Past. Papo Sticker Company. Papo Sticker Company is Tony's newer project that's really expanding. Long story short.
He's been doing this since 2020.
Sorry, what?
He's been doing this since 2020.
Yeah, well, but I mean, in comparison to like the band versus the tattoo shop, which has been there for fucking years.
Tony's got a lot of stuff going on.
Tony has been all over the place, done this, done that. We're not even going to do the name drop thing. But long story short, Papo Sticker Company was kind of, in memoriam of his father, but it is an expansion upon his art and his shop. And long story short, Tony can basically take anything, an image, an idea, a concept, a meme, whatever the fuck it is, and turn it into anything that you could imagine. A coffee cup, a t-shirt, a bunch of bumper stickers.
And you can do them by one or the hundreds.
Right.
Baseball caps.
Baseball caps, wallets, anything scarves, anything that you could imagine,
He's actually
printed
got a
and
lot of
or embroidered.
Yeah.
He's actually got a high-end, state-of-the-art embroidery machine.
Oh my God, that last one was
So-
so gorgeous.
The type of things that this guy can make is absolutely fucking incredible. And again, not just in the context, because most places will only let you do that kind of thing. You have to buy at least 100, which most of us, we're going to do something for like Mother's Day, or we're going to do something for our kid's birthday, or Christmas, or, for Halloween, or whatever the case is. We're not going to need a fucking 100 of them. Maybe we need 5 of them. Maybe we need 1. Maybe we need 20. He'll do things on a one-on-one basis or 1,000. And
Excuse me.
the pricing difference, versus what most big companies will charge you. Tony is an old school guy. He's a single father. You know what I mean? He's active in the community doing volunteer work. He runs an organization called Under My Skin for Life, which no coincidence is the name of his tattoo shop. But again, strength in numbers. Check him out. PapoStickerCompany.com. So let's get back to the funny stuff.
Suzanne, when you do your sage thing, you gotta open a window. You gotta give someplace those demons a place to escape.
I was just about to
Run
say.
away.
I was just gonna say that if there's no way out, then
All you're doing is driving them into a frenzy.
yeah, they're just kind of spinning around.
There's nowhere to go. So back to the memes.
Kind of like 50 beavers running through your house, running amok.
Sure.
It's the beaver clip.
Some characters, and again, within the framework of the Star Wars community, have become iconic.
Some more than others.
Some more than others. Now here's something for everybody to reflect on.
I'd rather look.
Okay. Would you rather look like Jar Jar Binks or talk like Jar Jar Binks?
I'd rather talk.
Now here's the caveat. You are not allowed to kill yourself. That's the joke. What's a Misa saying?
See, I could turn that into something.
That's horrible. That is horrible.
I would rather talk like Jar Jar than look like Jar Jar.
I would be okay with being a Gungan. You kidding me? They're awesome.
The Gungans,
No,
they're
it's not
strong.
Gungan. It did not say look like Jar Jar Binks as far as.
No, yeah, you don't get
It
to
was
be.
actually
See, no,
Fucking Jar
Jar.
Jar.
How do you
Jar
look like Jar Jar
Jar
with not being a Gungan? It's physically
I
impossible.
mean, but they had better looking Gungans.
Yeah.
Much better looking Gungans.
Yeah.
Not
he's
really.
Like he's like the Goofy of the Gungans.
Yeah, but if you watch Clone Wars, you know that homie gets bitches. It's fine.
That's
Well,
true, but I
Girls
mean,
like the goofy guy. It happens.
I'd rather talk like
Listen,
Jar Jar. I can turn
and
into
just
some
because you can hear what's going on in the background, this is what's ended up happening. Jar Jar now is a deity. Okay? You too can bask in the love and light of our Lord and Savior,
Can I have
Jar
a
Jar
buddy, Jar
Binks.
Jar?
Or Hush Puppies, how will be the heel.
Yes. Try and unsee that one, boys and girls.
I can't. I really.
Buddy Jar Jar?
That's where we've gone.
That's what I'm saying.
This
Buddy
is
Jar Jar.
this is, as they say, the decline of Western civilization.
See, I don't know. I feel like that's better than some of the other things.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, it's fucking far worse out there. We say it in a sarcastic context, but listen, and again, all fairness, I'm sure somewhere somebody is probably, either shitting themselves and or, getting ready to file a complaint. This is the world we live in. Cancel culture is real. But hey, I'm just the messenger. Like I said, I didn't try it. I'm just for educational purposes.
Oh, sure.
Again, there are other elements. Now, again, this is a kind of a little Kylo. And for those of you who don't know, Kylo is basically Leia and Han's son.
He's the whiny boy of the series.
He's Ben Solo.
He's the whiny boy.
He's
of
like the
series.
only good thing to come out of those 3 movies, in my opinion.
But this is a collage thing. So it's basically grandfather and grandson,
Yes.
with Kylo being the grandson. I will finish what you started.
Yeah, because it went so well for me. My wife is dead. My kids hate me. My boss is a dick. I'm burnt to a crisp. Seriously. Let me know how that goes for you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
It's just.
Learn from your elders.
Yes.
boy.
But I think, see, I think right there is part of the problem that we had with that new trilogy is that it was redundant. That, you literally have people repeating the same mistakes of the previous generation.
Yeah.
When they're there to be able to teach them, like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Oh! You really want to go there? That doesn't happen.
No, not like this. This is literally the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, it was
You don't make a movie about it.
It was an extreme version of something that happens every fucking day. People do not learn from their past and are doomed to repeat the mistakes of their.
I look at the last 3 movies as basically the same analogy between name brand cereal and like Tops, hoo-hoos. You know what I mean?
Here we have.
It's basically the same story, but the cheaper, shittier version
Here
of
on the
it.
left we have Honey Nut Cheerios. On the right we have Honey Nut what?
Yeah. It was just repackaged. And they basically tried to sell it to the Star... And listen, they tried to sell it to the Star Wars community somewhere, and I think Disney basically said, there are all these Star Wars fans out here, and not unlike heroin addicts, we could just sell them some really fucked up shit, and they'll all line up around the corner and buy it, and they won't buy it once, they won't buy it twice, they'll fucking buy it 3 times, and they proved it right, because the movies made millions of dollars, but...
The first one, I'll give them credit, wasn't that bad.
No, the first one I was really excited about.
The first one wasn't that bad, but the
By the
other
time we got
two,
to the third
they
one, I
dropped
was
the ball so hard.
It's like, again?
They just absolutely dropped the ball.
I kept expecting them to fix it. I kept expecting them to somehow...
Right, and then
fix
it just gets worse.
Yes, it does.
And then they have my boy Poe deliver one of the worst lines in Star Wars history.
That is-
Somehow, Palpatine returned. Like, what?
Yep.
Yes.
Somehow.
Well, there's a reason for it, because guess what? Things may be tough now, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Folks, that's the light at the end of the tunnel.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hopefully not for everyone.
Yeah, again, that's about as horrifying a visual.
Although perspective shift here, devil's advocate, whatever you want to call me. If you're a stormtrooper, that looks like God.
Oh, that's salvation. Okay? That means you
thank God,
probably...
my job is safe.
Now, but here's the thing. If you know Vader's a character, you're just as equally likely to die for fucking up and making Vader have to come in and clean up your mess.
No, not always. If it's a
Not always.
If it's a Jedi Knight coming through or something crazy cutting all the stormtroopers down, he'll hop in just to stop the casualties.
Okay. I have
He's
a theory
effective,
on why
logistically effective.
I have a theory on why stormtroopers miss so damn much. Is because they know that the Jedis have that lightsaber and they're going to bounce the shit back.
So they're just going to
So they're
miss
just
on
like,
purpose?
I miss on purpose. I'm not going to get re-hit by my own lightsaber blast.
See, I would agree with that. However, the nerd in me has to argue here.
Okay.
By the way, be like Darth Vader, wear your fucking mask. That's all I'm going to say about that.
With that being said, the thing about the stormtroopers is that they were originally clones, right? The clone troopers were good shots,
Yeah.
right? And the very first stormtroopers ended up being those clone troopers. They were still good shots.
Yep.
They didn't go to hell
Until they just started pulling fucking flunkies off the street.
and conscripting the general populace. Once they did the conscriptions, the
Degradation.
accuracy absolutely went to hell.
And there's also
And in that same time period-
degradation as well.
And then it said as well, in that same time period, there's also no more Jedi.
Yeah.
So there's no need for them to be that inaccurate.
No, because they're basically herding cattle.
Yeah.
Anyway,
much.
here's our public service anti-drug message. Meth, before and after.
Don't do it,
Okay?
kids. Don't
You
do
start
it.
your life off as a beautiful, glossy-looking R2 unit, and the next thing you know, you're a garbage can in
You're a junkie.
in a fucking
Junkie.
Although I have to say, if
in an adult store in Times Square.
I have to,
Ew.
I have to say, if there's any character from the Star Wars universe, R2-D2 is the realist.
He's the realist.
He's the realist.
I
He knew
define.
every dirty little secret everybody had and never said a goddamn word.
But how does Vader not recognize him? This is the one thing I thought never made sense to me. That was Anakin's unit.
Vader never-
Oh Jesus! There's so many holes in the fucking Star Wars universe.
Throughout the entire series, Vader never actually sees R2-D2.
Oh, R2 could go up to him and go.
But like I said, R2 is the realist.
Listen, they
knew
managed
every
not to
dirty little
cross.
secret, and yeah, he's stuck by Luke through the whole thing. Like even in the new trilogy, he was asleep until oh, my boy Luke needs me. Okay, I'll get up. And out of everything, they kept R2's character intact, and I appreciate that.
Now, this is a great little moment between old
yes.
Ben and young Luke, and the caption simply says, "This was your father's lightsaber. He murdered 30 kids with it."
Or as I like to call it, the Youngling Slayer 9000.
Yes.
Anakin.
Now, in the context,
Anakin.
this was the first movie that George Lucas did. It was episode 4. He gives him his father's lightsaber to be all proud and everything like that. But in the prequels, which came after, go figure that one out, it actually turns out that his father used that fucking lightsaber to wipe out all the young Jedi children who were called younglings in a mass slaughter.
You know what's hysterical?
Please.
The biggest loophole plot line shift in the new trilogy is how Maz, the little alien lady with the big glasses goggles or whatever,
Yeah. Ends up with that fucking
how she
lightsaber.
gets the lightsaber. It makes no sense whatsoever.
You're right. It's kind of weird.
But yes, hey, there will always be plot holes. Offended you are? Care I do not.
There you
Again, another really simple to the point. This is how I feel. And
are. Tough shit, Sherlock.
I have spoken.
Fuck off.
Now again, sometimes, and I thought, and I've seen a couple of people share this one, and I think it does have a point. The one picture is the noble Obi-Wan Kenobi. How you see your candidate. On the other side is the dominable Darth Vader. How you see their candidate. And then it's Jar Jar. And it's what both of them actually look like.
I did not cut that off. It came out.
Yes, well, some memes are fucked up. But it does illustrate a point. Perception is everything, folks.
Yeah.
Perception is everything. Now, this gets to the prequels. It's Qui-Gon. You will respect the prequels. You know what I mean? In comparison to this latest batch of movies, the prequels look really fucking good, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean,
just from a pure storytelling perspective.
You showed me the original movies before I saw the prequels. So when the prequels came out, I was ecstatic
Yeah.
and absolutely in love instantaneously.
I love the prequels.
And because of that, the prequels
It's the
remain
postquels. It's
my
the sequels.
favorite. Like, if any of the Star Wars movies come on, the two that I am most likely to watch, 3 most likely right now, would be Episode 1, Phantom Menace, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, or Solo.
Phantom Menace
Interesting.
had the shadow with Anakin in the shadow at the beginning of it, right? Was that the one that had that one?
Phantom Menace had Darth Maul.
Okay.
Darth Maul,
And
definitely
Anakin
an
as a
icon.
child.
The Anakin.
Annie.
But the thing that was on the cover of it was a picture of Anakin, and you could see the shadow of Darth Vader. I loved that image.
Hey, listen, as
I
far
don't
as I'm
remember that.
concerned, any movie that can put Samuel Jackson in it, you got my vote. I'm buying it.
Yo,
Too many motherfucking.
Fucking Samuel Jackson is Mace Windu.
We owe so much to Sam Jackson. No lie. There were only supposed to be like the 2 or 3 lightsaber colors. There was blue for the Guardians, there was green for like the Force Siege counselors,
And
and,
the red.
then there was red for the bad guys. Sam Jackson's like, "Can I get a purple lightsaber?" And George Lucas was like, "You know what? Sure, why not?" And then came all sorts of other colors. And then if you're a fan
Expanded the canon, yeah.
If you're a fan of the Knights of the Old Republic like I am, you find that all the colors actually kind of mean different things, and they're indicative of your kyber crystal attuning to you and your spirit.
Now again, just for a little politics.
Shadow, you see?
Yeah, I see it. I've never seen it.
Here we go. Person of the Year time. President Jar Jar Binks. Looky, looky. Misa President of the Free Big Empire. This is where we're at, boys and girls. I'm just saying. Okay?
You know what? Jar Jar, throughout the entire span of the prequel movies, has been a great and consistent figure. However, he is as gullible as a sack of potatoes. Like,
Yeah.
if you actually pay attention, the reason Palpatine gets complete control
Jar Jar hands him the fucking keys to the
is because
kingdom.
he manipulates Jar Jar into setting out the initial Galactic Senate approach in electing a Supreme Chancellor with emergency powers to raise an army and all sorts of stuff, so that the Republic can go to war. And that sets him up in his position of power to eventually become the Emperor. So Jar Jar, in his infinite wisdom, ends up setting into stages unknown chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Problems.
That's why he is President Jar Jar, Times Person of the Year.
I feel bad for him personally.
Yeah, I know.
but
Now, this is for all you stormtroopers out there, and it's just a black and white, just sitting there, just fucking regret. Those were the droids I was looking for. Sometimes we fuck up.
Yeah, when the Force confusion wears off.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. Now, some of you may be able to relate to this particular thing. I think this is another one of those great moments where we can relate. Okay? When you step in the shower thinking it's warm, but it's actually really cold. And the picture in the next caption is, "The attempt on my life has left me scarred and deformed." Listen, showers do kill, okay?
Yes.
Okay, and sometimes there are things worse than death.
Sometimes it's like when you think it's cool and then you go in and somebody flushes the toilet and then it's like,
Now, I like this next one for a couple of different reasons, just because those last three movies definitely made me want to go back to sleep. But it's just basically, again, a moment that I think we can all relate to. The Force Awakens. In that moment, you're just starting to wake up, you open your eyes. The Force needs 5 more minutes. And we all know, we all have those moments like, yeah, fuck that.
that was me this morning.
We're not short of the end of the goddamn world. Nope, sorry. Eyes are going back closed, and Wheeze is staying asleep. Now, this one's just really for my monkey. Take your son to work day. Not always a good idea. And basically, it's young Boba Fett holding the decapitated head of his father, Jango.
I mean, yeah, if you think about it, the head is still in the helmet.
Yep.
Yep.
That's horrible.
Kind of dark.
Really?
Not always a
You know
good
what's
thing.
worse? You know what's worse? The deleted scenes. Jango was supposed to die a much more gruesome death. He got like trampled by the different animals, and I think he got dismembered a couple of times before Sam Jackson actually cuts his head off.
Again, sometimes it's not okay to take your son.
They scrapped it because it was too violent.
Yo, I mean,
And actually that kind of pays into what's happening not that long ago. Disney is with the new trilogy. They didn't do as much violence and specifically no dismemberment.
well, hey.
Because if you think about it, the first two trilogies,
Listen,
both of the main characters got their hands cut off.
I mean, listen, welcome to reality, the violent world we live in. Now, again, this goes back to the earlier Ewoks thing, and again, it's the same black and white sword trooper pick, but a different caption on this one. Wearing modern armor and has a laser gun. Gets killed by small bear with sticks and stones.
See, this is where I'd like to point something out from a strategic point. That armor right there is probably some sort of plastic polymer, which has like high resistance to something like what they use, the laser guns, right? But right,
it's not going to save you against a fucking rock to the head.
Right, but it's the same concept when you start to compare armor that they used to use, like knights and everything, and modern firearms. So the degradation of armor went from, wearing full plate to wearing light leather and cloth because the gun that you were using went through the goddamn armor anyway.
Yeah.
So essentially you degraded into not wearing armor and just having the better gun. And then we went into, oh, no, we need to get armor back on the plate. And we got things like bulletproof vests and combat vests and combat armor that, Marines use and stuff. But it's still centered on the specific uses of war. If you use something outside of what it's actually designed for, it's practically useless. So, funny enough,
but listen, still,
these modern soldiers going against sticks and stones, that was their crux, that was their downfall.
Get fucked up by a bunch of
did break their bones.
cannibalistic Care Bear.
When all that technology is available, who the hell would think to use that?
This one, again, is a great one. Feel free to grab it off of Google and use it. I think, again, sometimes simplicity is the best thing. If stupid you are, speak you should not.
Please.
Now, again,
arguably they have to speak so that we identify.
I'm not saying this applies to anybody in particular, but if the stupid fits, this one is, again, just kind of the crossover between the Lord of the Rings. And it's a silly one, but, it's basically Elrond. The ring must be destroyed.
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
And everybody else is like, who's this guy? But it's just it's a quip on how all the Jedi Masters can just basically hollow in.
Trivia fact. Anybody know who that Jedi Master is?
Oh, shit. Probably not, but we'll see.
Oh,
No, you're not allowed to participate.
Yes.
So our next one is...
Who is it? You gotta tell us.
It's a picture of a stormtrooper in a bookstore with a tree book, and the caption is, "Know your enemy." Know your enemy, yes. Trees are the eternal enemy of stormtroopers on speeder bikes.
Yes.
Moving right along. Unemployment. It sucks when your job gets blowed up. Now, this is again in reference to, anybody who was working on the Death Star when the Death Star got fucking tanked. Yeah, now you're an unemployed stormtrooper. What do you do?
So, I mean,
it's kind of sad. I feel bad.
I'd hate to point out the irony that if you actually worked on the Death Star, you probably
didn't
be unemployed. This wouldn't be your kind of problem.
Well, everybody was running. A lot of people got off.
The Empire was all over the galaxy. That was the point of the Empire.
Your leave is over. You're coming back to your station, and there's nothing new.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just report back.
Brother John's like, wouldn't that be the end to American politics? Current brought out corporate puppets? Then again, stupid people not speaking would make your job a lot easier. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, man.
See, I feel like...
Not unlike this one, which I think is really, really good, and it takes a shot at the Harry Potter, and it's just a caption of Vader. Darth Vader ruled an entire fucking galaxy. Voldemort couldn't even take over a fucking high school. Okay? So all you fucking Harry Potter people out there, yeah, abracadabra this. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
What's up, Misa saying?
Benedict here to end the call. Listen again, some things, really same thing. This one's for all you ladies out there. L'Oreal Paris. Be the best Wookiee you can be.
I would, if they could actually do that to the hair, I think they would.
Look at that. There's such, the body to that hair.
It's majestic.
It really is. It's just, just
hours.
If there was ever a corporate product that you just really want to run out now. Don't we all want to identify as Wookiees? I want to identify as a Wookiee. How about you?
If you had hair
I'd
like that, I'd sit there and you would never give it.
Dad's like, that's trash. Don't put that in your... Well, listen, you're the resident. Please, educate us.
She is.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is fake news. It's false information. This is what they do to us. And I believe it. Because who better to sell hair care products than a fucking Wookiee? I mean, really, think about it.
I can imagine Suzanne having a Wookiee in her
this is
character.
getting
She's a
dangerously
stylist.
close to fucking up my childhood, but, you know, since she is the resident hairstylist,
Yes.
what's wrong in this equation? Why should we not put that in our hair? Why should we not be glorious like a Wookiee? Why? Inquiring Wookiees want to know.
In the arms of a Wookiee, far away from here.
Yes, I'm sure there's a story that we'll have to have a conversation about. Because I don't know. Listen, you know, you are the Beaver Queen, but Wookiees. Good relations with the Wookiees I have.
Hey, at least they can be consensual.
Well, thank you,
If you
Witch.
get unconsensual Wookiee, you're gonna get your arms ripped off again.
Now,
Okay?
I think everybody who's worked for a company or somebody else has had that moment when, and again, you can see the burnt, charred body, but your boss is like, but you're still coming to work, right?
Right?
Right? We don't care that you're 2 steps from death. The corporate machine must function.
I need you to cover the shift so that I don't have to.
Yes, my master.
Ah, Suzanne actually gave us some insight. Okay.
Full of detergent.
Here we go. L'Oreal is full of detergent. It's the same as your dishwashing liquid with lots of alcohol in it.
Truth.
No shit.
Yeah.
All right, that's fucked up. I really, you know what? I need somebody from L'Oreal to come out here and explain this shit. I don't.
Okay, well.
This is not fair to Wookiees. Listen, I mean, L'Oreal's got 2 options. Okay, really, they can come out here and they can explain this.
See, here's the thing. They never...
Or they can deal with what's going to come down from the Wookiees. No, listen, the Wookiees ain't going to take this shit lightly.
No. Because here's the problem. They never advertised healthy hair.
Yep.
They advertised how it looked. And it's damn well going to make it look like that.
For
It
a
doesn't
while.
mean your hair is healthy.
Until it
That's
gets
fucked
fridged
up.
out and dried out. I know. I used to sell hair care products, and I was a manager over here. So
L'Oreal, you're fucked up. Okay, yeah, I said it.
up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a great beta meme, you know what I mean? And we're going to kind of pop back into the...
Sorry you've had a rough night with us, but welcome. We are doing the Star
This
Wars
one was the
immersion.
young I was, needed the money.
There you go.
The
$20
force is strong in your butthole, it is. Yes. I love this personally. I think, you know, again, there's certain things that are... Listen,
I say this every time you
we
fart.
all shit, we all fart, okay?
I'm going to say this
Why are
every
we
time
going to
you fart.
pretend like this isn't like, you know, we all breathe? So let's embrace it. The force is strong in your butthole. Okay?
That's why you fart.
Get swifty.
Yes, it is. Gotta get swifty. Because the force I will push, but I will.
Yep.
And you can see that you know, me personally, that
Got
really,
fart look.
there's an element of pleasure that comes into this, okay? Don't deny it.
my
Don't
God.
deny it.
No,
Listen, anybody that's had to like kind of walk through a fucking mall or like it, you know, during an office meeting and hold one back and just wait and wait because you don't want to be that person, you don't want to be rude.
About to confidentially admit to crop dusting.
Well, that too, but and then you finally find that safe place and you can just get that out of your body. Listen, it is a pressure release.
See, when
okay.
you learn how to release it slowly.
There's pleasure in that.
Right.
Don't deny it, okay? It's better to be honest. You know, it's okay. Really. Listen, my nipples get hard sometimes. I'm not going to lie. It happens. Okay? Because, you know, listen, well, because I don't want to be that guy. As the kid said, I don't want to crop dust.
Break out on that.
You know?
You just chase the monkey away.
Well, of course. Because, you know, again, I'm his father. And listen, you know, again, there are certain things if you want to traumatize your children, you know what I
It's
mean?
the job of every parent to do so.
But Suzanne, all right, listen, Suzanne did the marketing moment. For long, luscious looks, use Olaplex. It is so concentrated that you don't have to use a lot, and it lasts a long time.
I've never tried that
It
one.
rebuilds each individual hair strand from the inside out.
See, I used to do the Nexus and Matrix, System Biolage kind of stuff. I've never heard of Olaplex.
I've been using swabs since I can remember.
Which is why I got a shower caddy to take my expensive shampoos and conditioners out the shower.
I'm an old wolf. Like, I'm the guy. Like, I'll use dish soap. I don't give a fuck.
You can use
I really
expensive
don't.
shampoos.
I really don't. And I hate to admit it. It has no context. And listen, I've known guys out on the road, performers and stuff that will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on hair care products and shit. And I used to laugh and joke. And don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge anybody context for
No, they do. They have that cheap $1 shit.
how they want to, makes them feel, because a lot of this is about self-image, and I don't. Again, it's important to people. So, all joking aside, I get it. But for me, no, I don't actually. Well, is what I used is Swab dish soap?
Pretty much.
If Swab is dish soap, then the obvious answer, Alex, is yes. I'll take who washes their hair with dish soap for $500. I mean, I don't know.
This is why
I don't know how else to play this.
I take my expensive shit back and forth.
Listen, I am what I am. I am what I am. I can't
totally
help
want to
it.
try some of that. I agree. I agree. But the wolf won't let me play with his hair.
Listen,
I'm trying to put shit in his hair. He won't let me put shit in his hair.
I walk a different path. That's all the only way I can explain it. So listen, again, I had to dance into some other elements. So it wasn't just, Star Wars is important. It's been a context. And I really wanted to do this, to interact with my son. I'm not going to lie. I'm glad everybody else could hang in and enjoy it. But at the end of the day, no offense, I wanted to share this because it's something that he and I have shared since he was a child. It's something that we bonded on from many different levels. And like I said, it wasn't just about the entertainment aspect. It was about some of the deeper dynamics, father-son relationships, good and evil, honor, responsibility, perception, perspective, context. There are a lot of things that you can take from these stories, and they apply into our lives, into our world. But there are other things, obviously, that are going on. And this one's for Shiya. It's basically a picture of Jack Sparrow running from the cannibals, and the caption is, "All I said was, I think Star Trek is better than Star Wars." Yes, there has been the never-ending debate. She and I actually had it earlier this evening. I told her, I said, "No, you don't get to do any fucking Star Trek bullshit. This is Star Wars tonight." But in fairness, because I love her and
I get my Star Trek.
She got to have the one Star Trek moment.
Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I just know a lot more about Trek than I do Star Wars. I mean, I enjoy Star Wars, but I'm more a Trekkie than a Star Wars. What do you call a Star Wars fan? Do they have a special name?
Human?
Oh, God.
I don't know. I look like, again, that's a loaded question. In reply to Suzanne, she's like, "Hey, you can do some conditioning treatments at home with simple products in your cabinet. Coconut oil or avocado oil. Put it in your hair, slap a cap on it, and let it sit 30 minutes once a week." Honey, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather stick my tongue in a beaver's asshole. Okay? There's no fucking reality. You're going to get me to put some coconut oil in my hair and then put a cap on and then just sit around for that's 30 minutes of my life. My hair is gorgeous. Listen, I don't understand. My hair is gorgeous anyway.
It actually really is.
I do not know how to explain it.
I reach over and stroke his hair.
Yeah, don't touch me. You make my tail dirty. I have no explanations. I have no fucking answers. I do not know.
She's like, "Oh, is this a challenge?"
Oh, well, hey. That's a story for another day. But no, listen, I'm the type of person, I can't do that. I would lose my fucking mind. I would get 3 minutes into it. I'd rip the fucking thing off my head and I would shave my head in disgust. I'm not going to lie.
You actually would.
I would.
You actually would.
I just fucking, it's just not who I am. And again, I don't
naturally
begrudge
gorgeous hair.
anybody else. I get it.
You have naturally
Totally get
gorgeous
it.
hair.
You know what I mean? It's the same analogy. People look at me. Why do you smoke cigarettes? I know it's bad. I like it. I'm sorry. It's what I do.
A knot
I smoke
in his
and I know
hair
things.
the other day, and he literally ripped the
I just
knot
ripped the fuck
out of
out.
his
Yeah,
hair.
that's.
And I, of course, being the witch I am, I'm like, give me the hair. Give me the hair. I want it for spells. Give me the hair.
Yeah, well, that's the witch thing. So, outside, without the context now of the Star Wars, there's obviously been some shit that's been going on around us, okay? I didn't, and I'm going to save this Supreme Court insanity for another day because it's just crazy. I will just say, though, however, that I think it's ridiculous, okay? And I will stand by this. Again, all joking aside, this is insane that we have a framework. I don't care what the morality aspect is. I understand, okay, the context that people feel strongly about it in regards to life and all of that. The simplest analogy, however, though, is that men do not have any business telling women what to do with their body. And at its heart, that is what it's about, okay? Make no fucking mistake, okay? Because women have been getting rid of babies for fucking
thousands of years.
The beginning of time. So abortion clinic is not what this is about. This is a woman's right to choose.
Yep. I think it's funny after all the stuff that's going on. The hair thing is the biggest.
My jaw just dropped like Sebastian the Crab from Little Mermaid.
Listen,
truth is truth. I'm not going to pretend to be something that I'm not. I don't think it's fair. I don't believe it doesn't do me any good. Doesn't do you any good. Because it vexed me. It annoyed me in the moment. And that's just old school Brooklyn. You know, I just pulled my fingers through my hair and it caught on it, and it was just like, no, you shouldn't be here. You must God, and that was it.
Yep.
End of story. Simple solution. And she got, and listen, no coincidence. That's what the universe wanted because she needed hair to do a spell.
Yes.
I know you're stuck on the hair thing. I know it's not the abortion thing. I'm evolving still. The witch is still manipulating me and doing things to me that...
Love you.
Yes, I love you too. But that's, again, another story for another day. One of the things that's been going on, and I felt compelled to throw it out there because when this all started, a lot of people immediately took the context, and I'm speaking specifically of this
Amber Heard
and Johnny Depp fiasco.
Team Johnny.
Now, this is not to condone or absolve or whitewash anything, but context matters. And when this first came out, everybody's like, oh, another one of these famous guys who're just abusive to women, What we have really found, okay, and facts do fucking matter.
Yes.
Okay, what we've really found is something completely opposite. Is he a fucking angel? No. But in the context of what this is about, Jesus fucking Christ, it's fucking insane.
He's responding to narcissistic abuse from Amber.
Again, we all have weak moments. We all fuck up. But this guy has gone out there and not only has tried to own it, but has made it a point, all right? And he's the one who said, hey, I want this public because I don't want it spun anymore. Let people just see it for what it is, okay? That takes fucking courage.
Yeah, it does.
So,
including some of the self-defeative stuff he did to himself.
Whereas we cannot influence, we cannot obviously implant ourselves into the context because it is a legal framework now, and obviously there is the dimensional aspect that it reflects between their relationship and their perception. However, what we can do, and that's the beauty of freedom of speech, is we can make her a fucking joke. Okay? Yes, she is an actress. A, abuse my husband. C, create fake news about it. T, treat him like shit. R, record my husband secretly. E, expect the world to believe me. S, say no one will side with him. And S, smile at blackmailing him. I just think, again, words mean something. Yes, you're an actress. And moving right along, I picked this one out personally.
Is so wrong.
It's so wrong, but again, there's this lickable screen can recreate almost any taste or flavor without eating food. Now, in the one corner, we've got Amber Heard in her Aquaman suit. And then the bottom one is Johnny Jack. Blah. That's right. And I'll say it. She a nasty bitch.
I'm a little bit 3-day-old
My little triggered?
in here.
My little triggered?
Little 3-day-old
A little bit?
fishy.
Now, this is really the point of it.
I love this.
This caption's great. This is a picture of a gravestone and a freshly covered grave. And on the gravestone, Amber Heard's career. And there's somebody with that selfie with that peace out. Yo, what's up? Check me out. That's us, the internet. Yes, let's all take a selfie on the grave of what was once Amber Heard's career. This is the beautiful thing about cancel culture. And I think, listen, in fairness, if we're going to ever find any balance, crazy bitches need to get called out for being fucking crazy bitches. Okay? I'm sorry. Context matters. Context matters. And it isn't a point that he's rich and famous and this or that. He's still a fucking human being. He's still a father. Okay? And truth matters. Okay? It does. I'm sorry. So we, in the context that we have, okay, is we don't have to subscribe to it. Okay? These people only have careers because we buy their products, we watch their movies, we obsess to some degrees, some of us, not all of us. But ultimately, we decide, especially in the framework of fame, who, again, shall be decided ultimately.
Well, she tried to tank his career, so I think it's only fair that, you know, hey, if you're going to turn around and try to tank someone's career, what's good for
I'm not going to lie. I will not watch anything with her in it for the pure principle of it. Now, once she's, you know, living homeless somewhere in, you know, fucking you know, San Diego, or, you know, then I might watch them just so I can have a comparison to, wow, you used to be like this, now you're a fucking homeless crack hoe in San Bernardino County. But hey, that's just me.
Yep.
Well, you know, listen, listen, again, some of the shit, like Suzanne said, you know, the self-inflicted bullshit claiming, you know, he smacked her. I know, listen, it's fucking ridiculous. Now, this is, again, personal one for me. And the top is the way Amber Heard sees herself. I'm sure she sees herself as this luxurious
Kardashian wannabe.
Don't you want to fuck me? No. The rest of us see us like Rick and Morty. Shit on the floor. You're swifty, bitch. Okay?
Actually, I should be shit on the bed, shouldn't it?
Well... Again,
I mean,
we got to keep the context correct, because again, get swifty is shit on the floor.
So
I think it's unfair. It's unfair to the bed. I have more respect for the bed. I think she's only deserving of shit on the floor.
So she couldn't even get that right. She shit on the bed.
Couldn't even get that right.
On the floor. Couldn't even get that right.
Ah, yes. This is ultimately the goal. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. This is ultimately the goal. Everybody, after hearing Amber Heard, got fired from Aquaman 2. Finally, inner peace. Yes.
There's a petition. This
is the point.
Ooh, Amber Turd. I like that one.
Why does anyone have one? Because, again, unfortunately...
You dragged it out into public.
And not only that, especially within Western culture, and it's a viable question, and Sabrina's right. Why does anyone care what happened between closed doors? Because unfortunately, within Western culture, within our society,
We're voyeurs.
not just so much that we're voyeurs, but art tends to imitate life, and then life, in retrospect, imitates art. That's why you have clothing companies and sneaker companies, and why you have hair care products and different model cars and different flavored coffees.
Yep.
Everybody has a relative context to what defines them. And within that, when certain things play out, and they play out publicly, it does set a dynamic in regards to how we not only react, but what we now set as standard, what becomes acceptable, what becomes now the background.
I'm reminded of that scene from Gladiator where he's like, "Isn't this what you came for? Are you not entertained?"
Listen, and in fairness, he's never going to have to worry about money. So, I don't give a shit about the money part. I care about the context, again, for him as a father, okay, and as a man, to be depicted as this monster.
Yeah.
And then somehow she slides off to the side and collects a paycheck. Okay?
Yeah.
That doesn't help us. All it does is it destroys every positive and honest context for equality between men, women, and binary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, let's be honest. Truth is truth. You cannot have double standards.
Nope.
Okay? And surely, if nothing else, again, she should not be allowed to profit off of it. So ultimately, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, they fucking voted Gino Carano off of a fucking Star Wars show because she said some off-colored comments, okay? This woman has gone off the fucking deep end into Twilight Zone with physical abuse, mental abuse, manipulation, shitting on the goddamn bed. You know what I mean? I'd rather have Gina Carano fucking run the children's ward than fucking Amber Heard be anywhere in a public context.
Not all abusers are male. They can be female. Right. They can be non-binary. Then not all. We have created this Me Too world where, in our mind, all abusers are male. And so let's blame all the guys. Somehow they're all abusers. We need to understand abuse is a personality type, not a gender. And in this case, we have a female abuser. Abuse is a negative personality type, and it has nothing to do with male, female, or non-binary. It's just, it's been easier for men to be raised in that abusive thing.
Because the framework has been male-dominated.
Yeah.
And that is a viable point. And it's not to dismiss it either.
Right. It's important for us to recognize abuse is non-gender specific.
Yeah, listen, again, and Sabrina, I get it. They don't have to get rid of your favorite movies. Mm-hmm. But again, there is, unfortunately, that line where or at least in my opinion, we as a society have to say, hey, you know what I mean, that this is not acceptable. And again, within the framework of cancel culture, with some of the stuff that's going down, there are people that are actively out there profiting off of hate, bullshit, misogyny. Again, if we're going to have an honest conversation, why should this be tolerated? Why is it okay? And again, we can agree to disagree, but at some point, you know what I mean? And I think that's really the lesson that we're seeing coming out with this thing playing out in a public element. It's just,
for me, one of the elements...
Life imitates art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One of the big elements here is how narcissists frequently like to flip the script. Abusers frequently like to flip the script and pretend that they are the ones being abused. And I think we're seeing that playing out very much with Amber Heard. She was very much an abusive style personality that drove Johnny to some deplorable deaths.
Yeah.
But, and then herself said, well, because I'm the victim here, like so many narcissists do.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this.
And it is a framework.
And I'm glad, again, props to Johnny for stepping up and standing up for himself and exposing even his own inner demons to show the truth of
Yes,
this.
that takes a lot of
Because
courage.
it lets other people who are out there, who are experiencing stuff like this, say, you know what, maybe this shit isn't okay.
And here's, the other side of it. A lot of people have been like, oh, well, he's suing for money. Unfortunately, the only way to create a legal context to deal with this is from that element. You have to frame it around a monetary situation, aka you have to sue for defamation. That's the only way for him to get it into this spectrum, to be able to clear his name. There's no other way to do it,
and whether
unfortunately.
Or not he wins the money,
it's the point. It's the principle.
And when it comes to it too, I mean, Amber Heard, I don't think she has any money because she promised like this big divorce settlement. She promised she'd give some money to these two different charities.
I mean, again,
and both the charities are saying, yeah, they've told us that she's having money problems, and we haven't seen any of that.
Yeah, again, the whole thing's convoluted. Right. And Sabrina, I wasn't suggesting, I know you're not saying that it's okay. I was more commenting that this is an unfortunate side effect of these elements. I agree. I don't believe that we should censor out things because they have uncomfortable elements or things that, somehow reflect badly. And let's really be honest, I'll use Disney as the example. A lot of the Disney cartoons from back in the 40s and stuff had what is considered racist elements. Song of the South depicted African Americans in a not so favorable light. It was done in the context of humor, but unfortunately, because of the way perceptions have changed in the time period, Disney's solution was to remove the movie. Now, I don't agree with that. I think people should have the option. They should have the right to see for themselves. I believe there are lessons to be learned from it. Just because the Holocaust was a horrible thing doesn't mean that we scrub it and pretend like it didn't happen.
I
don't think that is a solution either.
I grew up singing Zippity Doo-Dah, and I never picked up, I never fell into the whole racist thing just because I watched that movie. It didn't turn me into a racist. But I did love the Zippity Doo-Dah song.
Well, Diana, I'm really with you. I'm with you 100% on that, sister. She's a fucking shit, and she's not a good actress. You know what I mean? And I hate to say it, and you know what? I'm just going to fucking say it. I've come this far. I might as well go all the way.
Go all the way.
I think the only thing that she has been selling is that nasty pussy. And listen, let's really be honest. A lot of what happens within the framework, at least of Hollywood, is based on this illusion of sexuality, how a person looks. And she, let's be really blunt, she's been very public about it, exploits her sexuality.
Yep.
She uses it. She has no qualms about it. Okay.
Like every good narcissist.
And she's made a lot of money from it.
Millions.
And I think it's a disservice to good actresses. And I think it's a disservice to women in general.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. In fairness, she has that right. She has that right, as we all do. If that's how she wants to be, if that's who she is, I don't have the right to tell her no. However, context being what it is, this is different. This is outside the box. Now it's affecting other people. And granted, yes, it's between her and Johnny, but it does carry over into...
She brought it out public, so she can turn around and...
These elements are not only talked about, but how they are perceived and handled within our culture.
And we're in this world now where we don't keep all of this stuff hush-hush.
No, and listen, we shouldn't.
No,
we should.
I agree.
And as far as I'm concerned, to some degrees, if you live within the public light, you're going to deal with it. It's not always fair. It's not always, pretty. But again, I believe that's where we learn. And that's, I think, ultimately more important than the context of money.
Suzanne has it right. By all means, you do you, boo-boo, but don't bring him down just because you're jealous.
Well, and it's also about, again, the exploitive element of it. You made a very good point within that narcissistic framework.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a career. My pussy's drying up, so I gotta create some drama and attention to make myself viable. Except in this particular case, it's fucking backfired.
Yep.
And the world basically is like, fuck you, we hate you now. As well it should.
Yep.
I listen, I absolutely, listen, sometimes it is deserved. Granted, we don't want to be horrible people and be like, fuck, die, bitch. It's not like that. You know what I mean? No, everybody should have a right to a decent, happy life, but not at somebody else's expense.
If you have a bad marriage and things aren't working out, yeah, go ahead, split. You go your way, she go her way. You got kids, work on co-parenting together. That's great too, okay? But you don't have to sit there and be vindictive and say, let me just absolutely tear them to shreds because I'm pussy hurt.
Well, listen, I will also, I will be honest, because this is important, and it is.
Fuck Elon Musk, but it was later.
And it is an important disclaimer. I have personal elements because I was in a very abusive relationship that was very much like that, where the woman in my life was a fucking demon. And because of the constructs of how I was raised, I accepted it, I tolerated it, and I know how that feels as a parent. Because for a lot of us, men, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. We can't fight back because it violates our morality codes, because we don't want to be abusive. We were raised, we're taught, we feel that it's not okay to put our hands on a woman. And we frame these constructs around morality and honor, love, especially when vows are taken, aka you marry somebody, you have a child with them. So you tolerate horrendous abuse, and especially when the person is a narcissist and does it specifically to manipulate, you know what I mean? There is collateral damage. So it isn't just about Johnny, it's about his kids, okay? It's about how these things not only, again, are perceived, but how they now carry over and translate. Okay, because guess what? People tend to mimic certain elements. Yeah. And I hate to say it, but just as Hugh Hefner set the stage for fucking generations of misogynistic men, women like her show other women that it's okay to be a whore and just lie and manipulate. So
and that's not okay.
Is that really the message we want to send? Is that the template that we want to be like, hey, this is cool, it's okay because she's famous and she made money. Like, I've seen people out there being like, yo, she's getting paid. That girl, that's some fucking bullshit, man. You're basically condoning this insanity for profit. That's just me. I think we should be better.
We should be better
than that. And like I said, full disclosure, yeah, I've lived that experience. Okay, I know how it feels.
So yeah, we are definitely, or at least I am definitely Team Johnny on this.
Again, retrospect, I look at this. All my experiences got me to where I am, and I have an incredible woman. Again, all joking aside, we have a really good relationship, but I think part of that's based on the shit that we've gone through. Yes. AKA, if I hadn't gone through some of the fucking bullshit that I went through, I don't think I would be able to have the kind of relationship that I have now. So it's a trade-off.
You've grown and become more aware over the time.
Right. It's part of the journey.
We've learned. And because of that, we try to bring out the best in ourselves for each other and bring out the best in each other. And that's a good relationship. But that's also because of the shit that we have both been through.
We are all,
yes.
Basically creations of our experiences.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Women narcissists. I think let's go straight to the heart of it. It's not a succubus or incubus thing. It is a flat out, like I said, abuse and narcissism does not have a gender. It is a personality type.
Now, this is how I'm going to close it out, because I think, again, this really says it all. On the left side, you have the evil from Aladdin, Jafar. This is how I grew up thinking bad people look like, because we tend to stereotype. We put faces on things.
Yes.
And over on the right is that nice glamour shot of Amber. This is how bad people actually look like. Okay?
There's not some big old sign that says, I am a bad person.
Perspective. Okay? Everything is about perspective. If there's nothing else that we can learn, and it's such an incredibly powerful and important tool, perspective, especially when it comes to what things appear to be. Just because something looks a particular way does not mean it is anything more than an illusion.
Always look behind the curtain.
Yes. Me personally, I would rather wake up next to that motherfucker than her any day of the week. And then listen, and I say that again with all sincerity as a man. There is no way, okay, straight up, okay, and some of you guys out there know what I'm talking about, okay. That external element, she is fucking a nightmare, man. There is no sexuality there. It's all an illusion, all right? She is a fucking monster wearing a sexy suit that she bought on Pornhub.
Well, it's like you said, actions show the truth.
But again, this represents that we are all, to some degrees, caught within this matrix thing of perception. We're supposed to look a particular way. Oh, that's beautiful.
And
you want to be like her.
Narcissists know how to really frame themselves out to be attractive to other people. It's like so many empaths are like, oh, I can't believe I was drawn to a narcissist. Narcissists know how to use that glamour.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, that's the emotional paradox for empaths. And Suzanne, thank you. You're right, sister. Some of us can read it. That toxicity seeps from her aura, even in fucking
look at that,
pictures.
and to me, even that glamour shot is like,
no. It's fake. It is so contrived that you're right. The toxicity. Mm-hmm. they both do they look evil.
Yeah.
So listen, again, with that, we're going to close out tonight with the latest one track that we did. And it's a compilation. Oh wow, this thing's still going.
Oh no, you turned it off. You got to go up to turn it off up there.
Ta-da! All right, sorry about that little technical bink.
Yeah, you always have to turn the eyeball off. I've done
yes, switching between scenes. Anyway, we're gonna close it out with last track that we did. Track called "Keep On Talking." It is a compilation of black and white photography. Done by a good friend, my brother.
You're meaning View Below.
View Below.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
You said keep on talking.
Okay, reset.
Yes, reset.
View Below, done by my brother Rich Arity, compilation of black and white photos from shit that he's taking pictures of across the world.
Very
the compilation video was done by the witch herself. Really great eye she had in wrapping this all together. For those of you who are like, what do I look like? Yes, I'm in this video. There's actually 2 pictures of me in this. So yeah, feast, have fun. Listen, again, know that you're loved. Thank you again. Shiya will be back tomorrow night, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, what the fuck Wednesday?
What the fuck Wednesday? You never know what the fuck's going to happen.
And I'll be back next Tuesday.
It's going to be what the 4th Wednesday.
Yes, what the 4th Wednesday. It's going to be interesting. Yeah. I might even show up. Who knows?
Well, you normally do for what the fuck Wednesday.
Yeah, but I mean not for this one, just because, you vex me.
Well, fuck you.
Well.
When and where?
Hey. But anyway, we're going to close it out with this. Again, thank you again, and we will see you soon.
race towards the edge. There's a tension ever growing in the air. A child drags the blanket through the mud. She hides her eyes from the gleam of the sun, but we say, as below, so above, it shall be. The so-called trickle down the piss of royalty. A world of stone and rock, the pain within our feet. Over the empty seas, to most certainly his grave. In his wallet, a wrinkled photograph of families embraced by decree of the crown, to war for naught but vain. They send the desperate poor to die, but we say, as above, so below, it will be. The tower of reflective glass, the view below their feet. We see ourselves while looking in, but inside can't be seen. The old proverb speaks true. Something about homes of glass and throwing stones. Well, the rocks have been just streaming down from the top of the palace walls. Wouldn't it be just a shame if we returned him